You will never amount to anything.
We shall see, brother.
Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? This is Zen from Zenworld, and I hope you're having a great day. So today on Powers Discuss, we are doing an anime character, and his name is Tetsuo, and he's from the Akira manga and movie. Now, a lot of you, Akira came out in the late 80s. Now, that movie was ahead of its time. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole story and synopsis of it, but basically, it's about it's about a couple of characters, right? But we're talking about Tetsuo, and he's a character who was basically experimented on a governmental scale, right? To really escalate his latent ability. But what happened in the movie is that his powers evolved so fast that he had a hard time controlling it. Now, getting into the powers itself, are his powers? Now, they're pretty vast in terms of explanation. Now, I know I did mention latent psychic abilities, but it's a lot more than that, right? Now, telekinesis is the ability to move or to impress upon an object with your mind, right? When I say impress upon, it's the ability to just kind of move or have some kind of communication with it, right? Now, for him, he's able to like just move stuff, push, pull, and create some kind of psionic force field, right? Psionic force field meaning that he's able to use the mind to create a barrier itself, right? Pretty cool. What are his other feats? He's also shown the potential to teleport. Now, this alone is a really high level feat because when you think about teleportation, it's the ability to transmute, or not transmute, transport all of your atoms from one location to another location while still having them intact, right? Why is that so important? Because current research that says that teleportation is possible has a really big negative to it. And that negative to it is that when you're able to transport uh, a set of atoms from one location to another, you're actually just cloning, you're dismissing the current atoms or the current state of being from one location, and then you're just recreating them in another location exactly the way it was in that old location, right? So it's kind of like you die to just be rebirthed in a clone type of version, right? So at current state, there isn't a quote unquote teleportation. Now, the reason why this film is really important is because it leads into a lot of experimentation that has been done in war, especially when you think about what is just experimentation on soldiers in order to see if there is some kind of latent abilities, right? Or monitoring, as they call it in like World War II, and experimentation that they've done and put millions of dollars into people who seemingly have some kind of precognition, right? So this movie is kind of relevant in terms of where governmental aspects play a part in experimentation to then exploit these abilities, right? But in this sense, Tetsuo has basically uh, he's his abilities have shifted to the point where he no longer can control them, right? Now there's one point in the film where or his best friend, Tetsuo's best friend, rather, because I don't want to butcher the name. His best friend shot his arm, right? Because he's trying to save his friend, but at the same time, his friend Tetsuo is going crazy. Now, in the sense that he's going quote unquote crazy because his powers are basically outliving the body that they're in, meaning that they're evolving so fast that the body or that this bio capsule basically can't house his abilities anymore. So he shoots his arm, right? And one of the coolest things that he has his arm, he basically stops the bleeding. Cool. It makes sense that his powers can't do that, right? Stop the bleeding. If you're using telekinesis, you could stop the flow of something, right? Because it's you're impressing upon something. Now, he uses what I would call techno kinesis, right, in order to forge a brand new arm. Why is that really important though, in terms of capabilities and powers? Now, when we're talking about telekinesis and telepathy and all the kinesis itself, him being able to bind or reconstruct the arm using metal and wiring and things like that to create a prosthetic is something that we are trying to do, right? But he's able to move it as if it was second nature, right? Meaning that he has the neurons and synapses that are directly connected to move and control it like a regular arm. Now later on, you do see the arm go a little bit crazy, and then it starts to like detach and deform itself, right, on a sitting of where he's placed at a time. But at the same time, it just lends itself to for you to understand how powerful he really is, right? That psychic abilities and telekinesis are not just moving things, right? And not just being able to read, but they can go into a wild array of creative potential, right? That is showcased in this movie, Akira. Now, you know, again, just to do a quick recap of abilities. Now, this is probably one of the highest echelon of abilities that I've seen in any kind of genre when it comes to powers of the mind, right? I've seen another relevant ability to this, or not relevant ability, but another relevant person who's shown high feats of this type of potential would be like Jean Grey from Marvel Comics, right? But in a sense, it's done in a very creative way that. The binding of technology to his arm to create a prosthetic, his ability to teleport, his ability to create psionic force fields, and his ability to basically read what's happening, right? For the people around them and what they're possibly thinking, and also the ability to just transmute, right? In some type of sense, right? At one point in the movie, besides the teleportation, his body is again starting to deform, right? It's starting to replicate. It's replicating cells on a really fast rate in order to contain the abilities that he has, but it starts to really deform in a way um, that I'm going to show you a quick clip of it. That just leads you to believe that if he had full control over his body, that means he does have the potential to then replicate cells on a molecular level in a lot of different ways. Why do I know that from the movie? Because just like the scene that I'm about to show you, he's able to then, while he's impressing upon emotion to use this ability, he sends his arm out and then it grows in a fantastic way, right? That lets you know that the psychic ability and control of the mind is actually pretty vast, right? Where he has some form of biokinesis, right? Biokinesis meaning control over the body itself. Anything else that he's shown in the movie? Yeah, he's shown to create force fields where he could fly and levitate himself, right? Which is just basically telekinesis, and create a force field to then encapsulate oxygen in in space so that he's not like uh, loss of breath, right? And so that he could breathe. So I know I kind of like this. This is a complete like rant about his abilities, but Tetsuo is pretty powerful, right? I would encourage anyone to go watch the movie. When I was little and I watched that movie, it was something that really I didn't really grasp the complexity of the movie until I was a little bit older, probably in the late 90s, right? Uh, Watching that movie the first time, I did get a little bit of scares, right? Especially seeing him mutate and his body just kind of deform itself because his powers were just too immense for him to contain in the vessel that he has, and that's his body, right? So go out, watch the movie, and of course, there's more kinesises than telekinesis, biokinesis, technokinesis, and then telepathy itself. But I just wanted to rant a little bit about it when we're talking about the complexities of powers discussed when it comes to Tetsuo from the Akira movie and manga. So, with that being said, who do you want to see on the next powers discussed video? This is Zen from Zen World saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you enjoy my content, drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Be awesome, be great to others, and try to move things with your mind. Try to communicate with it. Take care, everyone. Peace.